What is going on, Alpha Hunters? The markets are closed for the week of August the 23rd. We had some things kind of going on this week. We had one political party having their national convention. The Democratic National Party had their convention going on this week. So we had some kind of things to kind of pay attention to there about, potentially new policy or things might be changing with that. And then we also got revisions on Wednesday to non-farm payrolls for 12 months through March of 2024. So that was an interesting thing. And then Friday we got the big thing from Jerome Powell about what they're thinking about interest rate decision, Fed funds going forward. So we'll kind of talk about those two things when we kind of talk about how the market went for this week. We did have a little bit of a higher open, traded higher pretty much the whole day on Monday. Yep, just continued higher. And then Tuesday, nice little lower open, kind of bounced there on the open, pulled back, kind of based here for most of the day. We didn't really do too much. We did just have a really strong pump there at the end of the day on Monday. So we actually did have a negative day there on Tuesday. Wednesday, so we got that non-farms payroll data that came out 30 minutes or so after the market opened. And it came in as a revision down 818,000, which is the largest revision over the past at least 7 years, is what I kind of saw on one chart on X. So yeah, huge revision down. Anyways, we did get a little squirrely there for a period of time there in the first half of the day, but we did come down, make it a little bit of a daily low there, bounced in the afternoon. Looking pretty good there towards the end of the day, at least it ending off session lows. Thursday, nice gap up. And then, yeah, just kind of pulled back the whole day. Just kind of nice little pullback, steady pullback through the whole day. It was a little strong at some periods of time, but, we've been running pretty hot there, to that point for about 2.5 weeks. So it made sense that we had a pullback at some point in time, that you're probably just going to be looking to buy the dip. Kind of thought maybe we might trade a little bit lower there on Friday. Or maybe we might see the selling on Friday, but no, it happened kind of on Thursday. And then people were optimistic about Friday, as many investors are and have been anticipating the Fed to kind of say, hey, we're going to start to look to cut the Fed funds rate. Well, we got that answer 30 minutes after the market opened there on Friday. Jerome Powell had his press conference, and, well, yep, that's kind of what he said. The path forward is now time for them to start to look to cut the Fed funds rate. The market is still kind of unsure if it's going to be a quarter or, 0.5% cut maybe in September. I think it'll be a quarter. I don't think they need to do anything still too aggressive yet, mostly because the data doesn't say that they need to. And they are still kind of fighting inflation a little bit higher than they want it to be, even though it is coming down. So I think it'll be a quarter point in September. I think we'll get to November, December. By the end of the year, we might see a 50 basis point cut by the end of the year, maybe November, December, but I don't think it'll happen in September. Got kind of volatile there in the first half of the day, nice little rollover. Never did go quite back down to the neutrality from the Thursday's close, but yep, bounced as we went to the end of the day. Looks pretty good as we go into next week. And as far as sector rotation for the week, energies, pretty big hit there on energies, especially there on Tuesday, man. It was just, got hit pretty good. Tech also underperformed there on the week. Utilities kind of in line with the market. Communications also kind of in line with the market, as well as financials. Some outperformers: staples, healthcare, industrials, materials, discretionary is doing pretty good. And then real estate. Look at that bounce there on real estate on Friday. Looking pretty solid there for the week. And just another thing to kind of note here as far as like price action for the week is you kind of notice how tech was doing pretty good up until Wednesday's close. And then you see how much they really got hit there on Thursday. So Thursday definitely did get hit pretty good throughout that day, throughout that sell-off, throughout that pullback that we were seeing across the markets. VIX, well, I guess it's kind of flat week over week, not really doing a whole lot. So we had a little bit of a rise during the middle of the part of the week. And that was kind of the interesting thing, though, is Tuesday, Wednesday, we were seeing the VIX kind of go a little bit higher, but we weren't really seeing a whole lot of bearishness there across the market. But Thursday kind of made sense. We saw some pretty good selling there on Thursday. Nice little pop there on the VIX. I mean, it could still, go lower and the market can still go higher. So yeah, I mean, right now it's just VIX is still just kind of dropping off from its early August spike. The DXY continues to break down. All right, so we got down to this 101.3 level, and we did get some kind of interaction here, right? We got a little doji there on Wednesday, tried to bounce there on Thursday, but Friday you can see that pretty large breakdown. And all we really did was got back down to that low, essentially, there from December. And it looks like we actually did just break below it. So just checking that. Yep, we broke below it by 0.015 points. So not a huge break below it, but we did get below it. So be curious to see, do we come out next week and people see this level and are like, okay, you know what? Let's be bullish here on the DXY, support it, makes sense, buy the dip. Or do we come down to possibly this level around 99.7 or so? Yep. Those are going to be the two questions you're going to probably figure out next week on the DXY. GLD Gold Trust looking pretty good, continuing to kind of push higher. Nice little consolidation this week off of the breakout above kind of these little highs that we had here around 229 or so. So it looks pretty good. I think you're just going to be looking, continue to buy any dips. 10-year yield. Well, we did push lower this week on the yields. Definitely kind of made sense as the Fed ended the week talking about, cutting the Fed funds. So makes sense. Yields have continued to pull back. Not really much else to say right now. I think yields might just be in a slow grind. And I think they're just probably more in a like medium to longer term kind of sideways choppiness. All right, 10-2 inversion. So we know about the pretty strong pop that we had at the beginning of August. We even got uninverted on one day, very briefly. But we are continuing now to push back higher after we have kind of pulled back on that for about 2 weeks. So we're started to push back higher this week. And yeah, I mean, probably starts to get uninverted sometime here over the next month. So it can happen pretty quick too. HYG, high yield corporate bonds, looking pretty good, breaking out, looking very strong here over the past couple of weeks. People are just going back into like risky bonds. So very nice close above this high back from August of 22 on the weekly. Yeah, I mean, it looks good. It looks good. I think you're probably, for now, probably going to be definitely looking to be dip buying on the HYG. LQD is an interesting one because we did get to this high that we put in back in the early parts of January, February of 23, back in the early parts of 23. So, I mean, it looks pretty good to probably continue to break out, continue to push higher for now. That's all I got. TLT, same kind of deal. I just don't think it's going to be as aggressive until we get to possibly a flight to safety. People will get unsure about things, kind of like how we had that early August spike there on the VIX, and you see the early August spike here on the TLT. So as long as we're not having like any quality or flight to safety kind of concerns, I think the TLT will probably continue, maybe chop upward direction, but not as strong as like the LQD, HYG have been here recently. All right, take a look at the IYT real quick. It has definitely bounced back pretty good here over the past couple of weeks. Nice, very nice bullish action there on Friday. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. I would imagine a lot of people, myself included, had been definitely eyeing this thing. It has been underperforming pretty much for the past 4 or 5 months. And not to say that, it's all clear. Obviously, we had this pretty strong run back in July, and then we kind of collapsed from that. So, we haven't gotten back above that July high. So if we do that, I think things will be looking a lot better for the IYT. All right, the RSP, which is now leading some of these markets. RSP, equal weight SP 500, looking pretty good. I mean, it had a strong week, especially the way it ended there on Friday. Very nice move. Did not get hit as much on that sell down on Thursday. So we are definitely seeing the switch kind of take place where tech is no longer in that leadership position. DIA looking pretty good, back up to kind of its all-time high top area. Obviously, we've got a little bit more room to go to take out that high from July 18th, but probably will continue to do that. IWM, very, very strong day there on Friday with possibility of rate cuts, which is good for small caps. So yeah, there you go. IWM looking pretty solid. The Qs, so like we were just talking about, big tech not looking, hasn't really been performing. Well, we got that big sell-off in big tech world and hasn't really bounced back as much as like the RSP and some other sectors across the market. But we do have a big time player coming up with earnings. It's going to be Nvidia. So I would imagine tech this next week might be kind of bullish in and through Nvidia earnings, and then or even coming out of it as big tech companies look to piggyback off of the Nvidia hype. I'd imagine Nvidia does well. Q's looking okay, just not as strong as they have been before, which is going to be the cause for concern later on. I don't think it's going to be an issue right now. I think we'll probably push higher as a lot of things kind of go higher, but I'd be curious to see if the Qs get back and make a new all-time high here anytime over the next like 2 weeks. SPY is really close to taking out its all-time high, and so that's why what I was talking about, we're going to have that switch kind of take place where the Qs and the things that have been leading the market, the big heavyweights, are no longer leading, and are they starting to change direction? That'd be the question. So it'll be one that we'll have plenty of time to answer. You don't have to rush into anything or rush out of anything. See how it goes, but we do have NVIDIA earnings. Probably going to be bullish. Do that. Alpha Hunters, have a great weekend. Take care.